NSFW, what NSFW thing happened at a sleepover when you were younger? Story 1. When I was younger, I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. My friend's mother was sitting on the toilet door wide open, love her to death, but she was basically built like the crypt keeper who smoked 2 packs of Virginia Slims a day. I've had that image seared into my brain for years. Story 2. Friend of mine came up to my room all stone-faced. Your mom is taking a bath with the door open. I walked in while she was bent over the tub. This was 1990 or so, and my mother was a single mom. Needless to say, it was still the 1970s down there, or so I hear. Story 3. Nothing too extreme like most these comments might be, but when I was in 4th grade, well, you have a big D. As soon as his dad opened the door, I stumbled on my words trying to explain the situation, and my friend couldn't stop laughing. His dad looked at me and his son in disappointment and shut the door. Talk about bad timing. Story 4. A friend had a sleepover she invited me to for her birthday one year. We were in middle school, and she was the only girl I knew. I didn't know any of her other friends. One of them suggests a game of truth or dare. They started daring each other to do soul things. It started with making out and progressed to dares to perform oral sex on the other girls. If you refused to participate, they got to punch you in the arm as hard as they could. I was a very good girl. I didn't participate in anything, performing or receiving. My mom asked me where the buck I had gotten bruises all over my body. I told her we'd been jumping on the bed and I kept getting accidentally kicked. Story 5. 6-ish, 7-ish. Sleepover at a friend's house. His dad apparently went to the bar and picked up some hood rats while we were supposed to be asleep. We hear Al Green and smell smoke. Look out, his dad's going to town on this one chick while another is sitting there topless calmly rolling joints on an album cover. Story 6. Distant cousins would visit us when I was younger. Female cousin and I were at that age where we weren't exactly sure what was going on with our bodies. We slept together thinking nothing of it, but being the horny kid that I was, I spooned her with my preteen boner rubbing up on her butt. She wiggled back and we pretty much dry humped. Only happened once and never mentioned at all. Story 7. My cousin used to sit on my lap every chance she could get. I could never figure out why she wanted to sit on me, but I hope she didn't notice that I'd get rock hard every time. Story 8. We were probably around 10 to 11. My best childhood friend and I were left home alone to our own devices for a while at his house while our parents got piled at my house. We were next door neighbors and our families were close. We were ding around in his older, SXY, high school age sister's room when my friend pulled a tampon out of her drawer and started to wave it around. I said something like, yo, how do those things even work, dog, FO real, really into M&M, when my friend decides to show me and shoves said tampon up his ass. He pulled it out slowly and we both realized with horror that it was, in fact, covered with shit. He did the sensible thing and threw it at the wall while we both screamed like schoolgirls and were too grossed out to clean it up. Our dads still tell this story to our new girlfriends just to warn them that we might be gay. Story 9. Hypothetically, during a sleepover, an anonymous individual might have stuck a snorkel in another anonymous person's ass. Story 10. Slept over at my friend's place while in 8th grade. His sister was a year older and was always flirting with me. Well, it is late one night and she is watching a movie on the floor while I sleep above her on the couch. I wake up to feeling my hand being guided underneath some clothing. Turns out this is my first boob action I ever had. We kept this going on throughout our high school years. She used to give me rides home from school and I would fondle her the whole way home. Things escalated as we got older. I still miss those days. If you made it this far, please consider pressing the subscribe and like button. Now continue to the video. Story 11. 14-15-year-old, I stayed the night with my best friend. His younger sister was friends with a girl a little older than her. We were downstairs on the living room couch watching Adult Swim and she asks if I want to give her a massage. Of course I do, so she laid down and I started massaging. Eventually she took off her bra and got some lotion so our massaging would be less hindered. I eventually worked my way down and started feeling on her side boob. I ended up finger blasting her and she gave me what was, I'm pretty sure, my second hand job ever. The whole time my friend is trying to watch and I'm motioning to him to GTFO. We all go upstairs and go to bed after that. Of course she tells my friend's little sister tells her older cousin, and older cousin tells my friend's mom. His mom calls me into her room one night, not in the way you're thinking. In so many words she tells me to feel free to jerk off in the bathroom if I feel the need to, that she understands that it's an awkward time solely, but to please refrain from finger blasting her daughter's friends on the living room couch. I turned a million different shades of red. His mom handled it really gracefully and skillfully. Looking back, I'm impressed by her level-headedness about it all. My parents would never have handled it that well. Story 12. My friend had a bunch of friends over for his birthday. His parents left us alone for the most part. Anyhow, we were wrestling in the basement when his older sister came down to see what's going on. She was a year older than him and she hung out with us for a while. However, another friend accidentally ruined the birthday cake before it was brought out, so the mother went with my friend to pick out a new cake. They left his sister in charge of the house. Anyhow, while they were gone, this guy convinced her to give him a blowjob, and all of a sudden everyone wanted one. She went around giving 6 guys blowjobs when her mother walked into the basement and started screaming at her in Hindi when she saw what her daughter was doing. We were all sent home and never allowed back. Story 13. When I was in 2nd grade, my really good friend had a sleepover for his birthday and invited around 10 kids from school. His parents had got him an Xbox for his birthday, with Halo 2 and 4 controllers, so all of us freaked out and played it in his room all night. Well, as things usually go with 2nd graders, Halo got super intense, and when someone would ask to pause the game to go to the bathroom, we would unpause it and kill them a few times before they got back. Well, there was this one kid named Josh who was really good at the game, and would beat all of us almost all the time. So at some point in the night, Josh tells us he has to go to the bathroom. We all snicker because we know that we're gonna buck his shit up when he leaves. But he doesn't go to the bathroom. So we keep playing. We play for a while longer and Josh has a pained look on his face, so we tell him that he can go to the bathroom and we will all put our controllers down. He refuses again. After a couple minutes, we hear a loud farting noise, and immediately after, shit just starts falling out of Josh's pants all over the floor. We all start freaking out and Josh, who hasn't stopped playing, takes this as a sign that he should poop even more. Hearing a commotion, my friend's dad comes in, pauses for a second to take in the picture of Josh unleashing the Kraken all over his son's room, and just walks away. Story 14. When I was in middle school, one of my friends had her party at a hotel and we were supposed to stay overnight there, chaperoned by her mom, of course, or none of us would have been able to go. However, once we got there, her mom had checked in and took off, leaving us to our own devices. One of the girls had brought glow-in-the-dark body paint and they all decided to strip naked and paint themselves, while drinking some beer that the mom had supplied us with. We were only 13. Some tame lesbian activity occurs. Then, they decided that it would be a good idea to go to the hotel pool, which was officially closed at the time, and skinny dip. Me and one other girl were the only ones who refused to participate. I was pretty sheltered as a kid, so all of this was really shocking to me. The hotel manager ended up kicking us out of the pool area, but surprisingly, we just got to go back to our rooms, unattended. Her mom must have known the owner or something. If my mom would have known what was going on at that party, I just told her I had a good time and left it at that. Story 15. Stayed at a friend's house, his sister also had a friend stay over. She woke me up and wanted to talk to me and wanted to give me a blowjob, took me to the couch and went at it, pulled her titties out and used them, went to the freezer, got an ice cube and crushed it in her mouth and started sucking again. Then there was an awkwardness and she stopped and looked over and my friend's dad was watching. He mumbled something and went to his room and we went to the basement to finish. Story 16. At my birthday sleepover in 6th grade or so, one kid, Cody, woke up in the middle of the night to discover that another kid, Max, had managed to pull his pants down in his sleep and his D was hanging out. So Cody took his Game Boy Advance SP, the kind that folded shut, and closed it on Max's penis. I awoke in the morning to find the rest of the kids discussing the event. I was never quite sure what to make of that. Story 17. The first time I slept over at a girl's house I was in 6th grade, and it was the group from an extracurricular activity. It was her birthday. The parents thought it'd be innocent, but we were old enough to be little shits. We spent most of the night contriving a makeout scheme on the girls. One of them expressed interest in that stupid game where you press on someone's chest until they pass out. We didn't press very hard, nobody passed out, but everyone pretty much touched all the boobs. The birthday girl puked, but being a kid, rallied immediately. We played some version of hide and seek in the dark, but instead I made out with one of the girls under a pool table. Story 18. Truth or dare at a sleepover. Got 4 girls topless at one time. One used a doorknob to demonstrate how she cradles and licks a ball sack during a BJ. I got stuck dry humping a mattress. At another sleepover, I had to take a shower with a very obese girl. We had to scrub one another. At that same sleepover, I got a handy from a friend's girlfriend. I think he actually dared her to do it, but it was still awkward. It was like a quick, 5-second okay, I jacked your D type of handy. Story 19. Camped out the back for my friend's 14th birthday with a few of my mates. Birthday boy suddenly got uncontrollable diarrhea, house was locked. We all managed to catch him shitting himself while desperately trying to get into the house. Good times. Story 20. I was riding the bus to school with a gay friend and asked him how and when he knew he was gay, since he'd never done anything that I knew of, with anyone. I was curious how he was so sure. Kinda stupid these days, but this was a while ago and I was young and dumb. We were both 15? 16? Something like that. This was over 20 years ago now. He told me, well, the last time I had a sleepover, after everybody went to sleep, I took out Robbie's penis and kind of played with it and put in my mouth and stuff. And you liked it? I guess, yeah, I mean he stayed soft, but it was really fun to play with. Penises are awesome. That's bucked up, man. You shouldn't do that to people. You totally are word Robbie. No. He was asleep. He doesn't know I did it, so it doesn't count. It still counts. You can't buck someone who's sleeping and just say it's okay. I didn't buck him. He barely got hard. It was mostly just soft and squishy and I flipped it around, it was fun. That doesn't make it okay. You having fun doesn't stop it from being bucked up. Well, it wasn't just him. I tried everybody out. I wanted to see different ones. Sam got hard. Oh my god. How many guys were there? 4. But I didn't do anything to Eric. But you like Eric. He had a major crush on him. Exactly. Dude, you are word 3 guys but left the one you're actually attracted to alone? I didn't word them. I just, played with them. And put them in your mouth. That doesn't count. This conversation continued for the entire bus ride to school. I know he didn't mean anything bad by any of it. But it's still pretty bucked up. Story 21. My friend replaced the batteries in a flashlight with his poop. Edit, here is the full story. There were 3 of us. Myself, X and Y. Our other friend Z, much earlier in the week, made plans for us to come hang out. If we ever went to his house, it was an implied sleepover. So we showed up and Z's parents let us in. They knew he went out for band practice and just like us assumed he would be back later. So we had dinner and talked with them for about 2 hours. Z never showed up, so we went up to his room after dinner. His parents went straight to bed. Another hour went by and it was getting late. So I called Z. He forgot he invited us over and lied about being at home really sick. We were standing in his room. So X, Y, and I decided to get back at him. It started out harmless. We just wanted him to know we had been there. So we got onto his computer, and managed to get into his World of Warcraft account. We name-changed his main character to something like Slexbutsex or something. We then sent all of his good stuff to X's WoW account. We then decided to play Z's Xbox. This was back when the 360 had just come out. And he was the only friend we had with one. But Z's power cable was missing. So Y and I started looking for the cable. Our search took us to Z's closet, where X started being annoying. Z's closet was the size of my bedroom, and the lights did not work. So Y used his phone to light our way. I downed the soon-to-be notorious flashlight on a shelf and tried to use it. The batteries were dead, and X, the soon-to-be poopist, was being really obnoxious, trying to help us look by throwing random things at us over his shoulder. I threw the flashlight at him. He then looked at me and said, "Dare me to shit in this?" I replied with the fateful 2 words, "No balls." X then slammed the closet door, locking Y and me inside. Y was still looking for the cable, and I figured X was just kidding. I heard the toilet lid slam. Then I heard a hefty splash, then an ugh-hi. X then came back in and closed the door, so it was pitch black once more. He said, "Yeah, I couldn't do it, you were right." I saw Hazolan in the dark reach out to hand me the light. So I took it and SSID. See why? He's a sissy. No BA dash. Y turned to face us with his cell phone screen lighting up. The horror coming out of the flashlight was about 4 inches of turd. I screamed in disgust and threw it at X. X caught it like some sort of ninja and threw it end over end as hard as he could back at me. I ducked and Y jumped to the floor. The pull-light then splattered all over the back wall of the closet. We left like ghosts on the night. Hopped into my truck and drove to Y's house in silence, where the sleepover continued, and we finally began to cackle about our evil deeds. Story 22. Strip poker at a cast and crew party for a middle school production of The Secret Garden. That was the first time I saw boobies out in the open. Glorious. The nudity lasted maybe all of 15 minutes, but 40 years later I can still see every second of it in my mind. We all paid hell for it in school and with our parents over the next couple of weeks, but the detention and grounding were well worth it at 10 times the price.